Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube page. My name is Nicole Salter, and I am a realtor in Florida, Tampa. And I have been in a Facebook group where a lot of people are asking, where do you start when you are trying to relocate? And so, a little backstory of me, or about me, I should say. I am from New York originally. I used to live in Baldwin in Nassau County. And my husband and I owned a house along with his grandmother. And my dad passed away in 2019, January of 2019 to be exact. And after he passed away, my mom moved in with us. And so our house immediately got smaller. And we decided that it was time for us to start preparing for our future. And so my mom says, I want to move to Florida. I don't know who's going to come with me or if no one's going to come with me, but I do plan to move to Florida. And so she had a talk with myself and my three other siblings and let us know that she was moving to Florida. And so my dad had just passed away from a massive heart attack. It wasn't something that we saw coming. He was fine the day before. Well, now we know the signs we should have been looking for. However, according to us, he was perfectly fine the day before. And one day he was sitting on the sofa and he looked really weird, and he started to like fall asleep, and my nephew was playing with him. And normally, even if he's tired, he would still interact with my nephew. However, this time he was not paying attention to my nephew. And so my mom is like, what is going on? What is wrong with him? And she's watching him from the corner of her eye, and she noticed that his eyes started to get funny looking and started to roll in the back of his head. And so she immediately went into like life-saving mode, and she called 911, and they were able to revive him. However, he did not last. And so my mom is sitting down and she's in front of myself and my siblings, and she's like, yeah, I'm moving to Florida. And we're looking at her like, you can't go all the way on the other side of the earth, like by yourself. And she has that look on her face like, well, who's coming with me? And so we all knew what she was saying without her having to actually say the words. And my husband and I said, we'll go. And so that is how we ended up in Florida. Now, how did we end up in Tampa? We went with a real estate agent. Here's why we went with a real estate agent. We are busy people. My mom is retired. However, while I was working and my sister was working, she was watching our children. My husband's working. My mother in law was working. No one had time to be in Florida looking for a house. And so we strategically planned vacations that were long enough for us to be able to take a day or two for an agent to show us around. Thankfully, my cousin moved here before we did. And so we had an agent. We used the agent that they used. Um, and she was very nice. She took notes. She listened to everybody's must haves. She was very realistic in letting us know that we can get a lot more for our money than we could in New York, but there's still limitations. And she was very knowledgeable about the builders that are here, about old houses, new houses. She was very good. And so we explained to her that we wanted to be maybe about 30 to 45 minutes away from my cousin. And we are very family oriented. And so she found not only houses that were already built, but she also found new developments for us, new communities. She brought us to a few different builders, and unfortunately, none of them had the floor plan we were looking for. Because my mom and my mother in law are here with us, we needed at least two bedrooms, or at least two bedrooms on the bottom floor. And so, with that being said, that was like the main priority. Two bedrooms on the bottom floor, everything else upstairs. And so, the company that we end up going with, the builder that we end up going with, is called West Bay Homes, and they actually were able to finagle their floor plan so that 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms can be on the bottom floor, and the main sleeping areas for everyone else is upstairs. And that was the perfect plan for us. But not only was it the perfect plan, it was in the perfect community for us. Coming from New York, we barely knew or saw our neighbors. And so we really enjoy, well, I really enjoy, my husband will tell you different. I really enjoy speaking to people and getting to know them. And so when we found out about this community life, it was like the best thing since sliced bread. We were able to go to the community center and meet the workers, and they have this huge resort style pool, and it was just a great community family feel that I had never had before, and I was longing for because of my 2 young children. And so what I want to do today is I want to help you guys prepare for your future, give you somewhere to at least start. So today's discussion, we're going to learn some steps that are going to show us how to research an area to live in. I'm going to be using Florida, not only because I live here, but because I'm also a realtor here. And so I'm going to go through some steps that I used to help me get here. So, steps to finding a place to live. You want to write down your thoughts. What are your must-haves? Our must-haves for this particular house was we had to have 2 bedrooms on the bottom floor. In addition to those 2 bedrooms on the bottom floor, we had to have a pool. So that means we had to have enough land to be able to build a pool on. In addition to that, we had to have living space upstairs where if myself, my children, and my husband just wanted to sit down and watch a movie, we were able to do that without disturbing the grandparents downstairs. And so those were our must-haves. Those were the things that we wrote down on paper. Those were the things that we looked at when we went to different houses. We looked for those particular things. And if there were too many things in the house that we had to say, we can fix this, we can fix this, we can do that, we can take this down, it was a no-brainer for me. It was like, no, we're not doing that. That's not what we're coming down here for. We're not coming down here to build a whole new house unless somebody is building a house for us by the time we get here. Research your communities, your counties. Research the counties. Every area has a county. We live in Pasco County. When we were in New York, we lived in Nassau County. New York also has boroughs: Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, Manhattan. Am I missing any? I hope not. But research the areas that you want to live in. Research all of them. This is why most people use a realtor, because they don't have time to do all of this research. However, what you pay for in dollars, you save in time. What you save in dollars, you pay for in time. So you also have to figure out what it is that you have. Do you have time or do you have dollars? Either one. Actually, when you do have a realtor that is working for you, the seller's realtor does most of the paying. You just pretty much pay some small, like $400 or $500 broker fee, which is nothing because it's included in everything that you in your down payment and everything anyway. But we're not going to talk about that. The next thing you want to do is look for major cities and towns in your counties. Do you want to live in the city? This is another thing you write down. Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to live in the country? Where do you want to live? What do you want your block to look like? What do you want your area to look like? If you don't want to live in the city, look at the outskirts of those areas. Check and see what is around Tampa. If you don't want to be in a city, normally the city has more people than the outskirts. If you don't want to be around all of those people, look for the areas that are on the outskirts of that city. Find the demographics of your area. That's something that you can just Google, demographics of Tampa. A bunch of websites will come up. Look at all of the different websites. Find out what the demographics are. Find out how many people are in the town. Look at school ratings. If you have young children, this is something that's going to be very important to you. Find a social media page. Everybody's on Facebook now. My community is called Connerton. And in my community alone, we have about 5 different Facebook pages where different people are posting different things all the time. Lastly, you can find a realtor and ask for their help without necessarily using them for to purchase a home. Now, if you're not going to use them to purchase a home, they are not going to give you 100% of their time. Just remember that. You can call them, you can ask them questions. However, they are not going to put all of their time and effort into you if you are not going to support their business. And by supporting their business, I mean use them to help you find a home and purchase that home through them. So let's go to point number 1. Write down your thoughts. Get a notebook, write down all of your thoughts. Answer questions that you would have. What does your block look like? Is it tree lined? Does it have sidewalks? Do you have neighbors? Maybe you're someone like my uncle that does not like neighbors. He has 8 acres in Albany, New York, and he does not like neighbors. He wants to walk outside naked if he can and only see a bear. He does not want neighbors next to him. However, he's always asking us to come and visit. So Uncle Aubrey, you got to figure that out. Make your decisions. This is what we or I want. Make final decisions. Don't be wishy-washy. If you're wishy-washy, you will never make a final decision. And everything you see, you will like or not like. Make a final decision. This is what I want. I love pink houses. I want a pink house with a picket fence. Let that be what you want and what you are looking for. Sorry, these people keep texting me. Okay, so I'm just going to silence this real quick. I apologize, guys. Next, start your search in your area. Look in the state that you want to live in. Look for a map of that state. Like I said, I'm using Florida because that is where I live. That is where I am a realtor. In this map, Florida is separated into 4 different quadrants. You have south, you have north, you have central west, and central east. Where do you want to live near? For us, we wanted to live near Orlando, but not in Orlando. And so we let our realtor know that. And it turns out that our house is an hour and a half away from Disney, which is perfect because I can still make it a day trip. I can even make it a half a day trip if I want. I can leave my house, get to Disney, spend about 4 hours there, and still come home in time to eat dinner. Not have to be worried about having to eat dinner out. Being able to come home and still eat dinner in the house. Even if I have to purchase something while I'm out, purchase a rotisserie chicken or a fried chicken basket of some sort, we can still go and eat in our house. Do your research. Find a map of the state that you want to live in and dissect that map. Look at all of the different areas. Look at all of the different counties so that you can figure out where it is that you want to live. I'm going to choose Pasco County. That is the county that I live in. Pasco County is 868 square miles. If you look at it, these are all of the different areas in Pasco County. I still do not know all of these different areas in Pasco County. However, my area, I think, is right around here. Okay, there are different areas in Pasco County. So let's go back to your list. Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to live in the country? That should say country. I apologize. Do you want to live in a gated community? Do you want to live in the woods? Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, where do you want to live? Vision yourself living in these areas. When you are in a city, you are going to hear traffic. You're going to hear buses. You might hear people talking. Are you okay with hearing all of those sounds? Are you going to have to spend extra money on double pane windows to block most of that sound out? You might hear airplanes also. If you're in a gated community, you're probably going to have to deal with an HOA. For those of you that do not know what an HOA is, it is a home HOA, home something association. What the HOA does is I need to look that up. What is HOA? Hold on one second. HOA. Oh, what does HOA actually stand for? HOA. Let's see. It's a homeowners. There you go. I'm sorry. I had a brain fart for a second. Homeowners Association. And what the HOA does is it's a bunch of people that live in the area, and they make rules and regulations as to what the outside of your house has to look like. And so for us, we are in not a gated community, but we are in a community that has an HOA, and the outside of our house, the color has to be approved by the HOA. We can only have a certain mailbox. There are certain trees that we are only allowed to plant, certain flowers that we can only put in the front of our house. We can do anything we want to the inside of our house, but the outside, however, we have to get HOA approval before we are able to do anything to the outside of the house. So, is that something you want to live with? Do you want to live in the woods? In the woods, you have to deal with wildlife. Are you okay with bears sniffing your garbage? Are you okay with raccoons and foxes and whatever else is in the wildlife in your area? Are you okay with them possibly coming around your house? If you have small children, this might be a concern to you. If this is what you've done all your life, maybe not. But you have to make those decisions. What are you most comfortable doing? So, as I said, I am in Pasco County and I am in Land O'Lakes. Land O'Lakes is about 45 minutes away from the city of Tampa. And these are the demographics that I found in Land O'Lakes. And I was okay with that. And this is, I think, as of like 2019. I was okay with the numbers that I saw here. Land O'Lakes is it's not that small, but it's also not one of the larger counties in Florida. And so when I looked at these numbers, I was okay with what I saw. They also have a number about race. I did not want to get into that in this conversation here. However, that is a number that's down there as well. You look at that number. If you like what you see, great. If you don't like what you see, then you go to another town. It is all up to you, but you have to make that decision. Next is schools. There's this website called greatschools.org, and the website gives each school in your zip code a number. Oakstead Elementary School is a 9 out of 10. My children do not go to that school. My children go to Connerton Elementary because I am in the convenience phase of life. That is another thing you have to think about. Where are you in your life? The community that we live in, the school is about a 5-minute drive away. The grocery store, same thing, 5-minute drive away. The grocery store is right at the end of the community or the beginning of the community. In addition to the grocery store, there's a postal service there, a post office there, not a UPS office, I'm sorry. There's a UPS office there. There's a hair salon, there's a nail salon, there's a liquor store for those of you that like to drink. There's a Chinese restaurant. There's a pizza restaurant. There's a Mexican restaurant. There's Subway. So there's a bunch of things. I think there's a new Greek restaurant there as well. There's a bunch of things that are in the front of that community that I was okay with. Because for me, I don't want to drive around the world to find food. If I need food really quick, I want to be able to just zip over there in my golf car, pick up my food, and go back home. And that's what I'm able to do. If I want to take my children out just to be out of the house eating dinner, we can drive the golf cart to the pizza restaurant. We drive the golf cart, we park it right in front of the pizza restaurant, we sit down, we eat inside or out, and then we go home. I am in the convenience stage of life. That is where I am. And so when you are making your list, these are things that you have to evaluate about yourself. Okay. Greatschools.org it's a really good resource. There's a lot of people that leave comments and they tell you about the school, what they liked, what they didn't like, yada yada. It also explains to you how many people are in the school, what district it is in, and like I said, it gives each school a score, a grade, and it tells you that most of the students are passing all of their exams or most of the students are not passing all of the exams. So greatschools.org is a great thing for you to look at. Find a social media page for that area. So the areas that you go to, they will have social media pages. Almost every area, new and old, has some sort of social media page where they are selling things, they are buying things. Feel free. Usually you can only get into those social media pages if you live there. Feel free to try and message someone in that social media page. How do you like your community? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? This is part of doing your research. If you are not going to use a realtor, this is what you have to do. You have to spend time doing these things on your own. Lastly, use a realtor. In my experience, not because I'm a realtor, but even like working with people that do not want to use a realtor or even talking to people that don't want to use a realtor, you spend a lot of time doing the work on your own. If you have a realtor, the realtor does most of the work for you so that you are able to focus on other things in life. Everybody has something going on. You got boyfriends, you got girlfriends, you got husbands, you got wives, you got situationships and children and whatever else there is that's going on. Why would you want to add extra stuff to your life? It is not saving you any money. If anything, it is saving you time. Use a realtor. Use a realtor to help you find the perfect location for you. Some of you are probably like, oh, I've had a bad experience with realtors. We've all had a bad experience with nail salons and with hairdressers, but that doesn't stop us from going to get our nails done and going to get our hair done. And I'm pretty sure we've had a bad experience at a restaurant, but that doesn't stop us from going to eat somewhere else. So just because you monthly recap and coordination. Alexa, stop. I'm sorry, guys. It's a lot happening in my house. So just because you've had a bad experience with a realtor in the past doesn't mean that all realtors are bad. Some realtors actually listen to you and help you find the house of your dreams. This is my information. I am a realtor in Tampa. My name is Nicole Salter, and you can feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, give me a text. I love talking to people. It is always fun when I am able to educate someone and someone is able to educate me. Here are some free resources that I have attached to the back of this page. If you want, you can screenshot it or feel free to send me an email. I can send them to you. Shoot me an email, ask me questions you have. We will talk about these worksheets. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll talk.